Adding images to SwiftUI and Xcode can take a little bit of time, as normally when you add them, they can be quite large. But I'm going to show you all the tricks that I use to resize, reshape, and even clip my images in SwiftUI. And any code that we create in this video will also be available on my GitHub pages in the description below. So to add your image in your SwiftUI project, you'll need to go to your project navigator on the left here, and then you'll want to navigate to your assets catalog. Kind of looks like it has a couple images already. This is also where your app icon will go. And you can either press the plus button in the bottom left to import. I like to just drag and drop my image onto this middle panel here. It'll then be added to our Xcode project. You can rename it just like any other file on your computer. You can do the click and wait a second. You'll get the prompt to change it. And I'm just going to rename this to be example. Whatever the file name is here, that's how you'll reference it in your SwiftUI image. Now in our content view, we can reference the image by doing the capital I image. And then within the brackets, we're going to use our quotation marks to look for the string value of that file name. So I had called mine example, and you can see here now in the preview, we can view that image, but it's a little bit large. Another way you can accomplish this from images in your assets catalog is in the top right of Xcode. There's the show library button. And the fourth option, we can actually select all media found within our workspace. We can drag and drop this image there. This is also great if you have a lot of images and you want to see them visually, make sure you don't have any spelling mistakes, etc. So in order to resize and rescale our image, on the line after our image, we're going to be using the .resizable property. And you'll see it's made our image fit our phone screen. The area on the top and the bottom aren't filled out on this iPhone. If you did want to make it go a little bit out of bounds, maybe you're using an image for a background, after the resizable, you would add the edges ignore safe area. I'm going to use my autofill here. And then within the brackets, we would do .all, and it's going to push it to the absolute bounds of the device. Otherwise, I would recommend using the .scaledToFit modifier, and this is going to do its best to fit your image within its original aspect ratio. So my original image is more of a square, and it's kind of squished it down to be how it normally looks. You can also use the .scaledToFill, and this is going to fill the image in the space. For larger images, it's going to stretch out a lot more, just like when we had it to begin with. You can also choose to add a frame afterwards, and with the frame you can set a minimum height, maximum height, or set them to be static values. So if I only wanted a certain height, let's say 200 units, it's going to scale it down. Let's do 100, but because it's on scaledToFill, it's only going to go down to as small as where it's kind of keeping that ratio. If we change this to be fit, we can see that the height makes it much, much smaller as we do edit. And if we were to change it to 1000, it's going to still go to the edges and then say, oh, this is as far as I'm going, and I'm stopping there. So you can play around with the height as well as the width. You can set a minimum and maximum, which is also great for using things like iPads. Something I really like to use for profiles is the .clipShape. And let's go ahead and make this a circle. This is great for profile cards. You know, a lot of our profiles, you upload the image, it goes into that circle shape. You can also do some other shapes that are available, like the rounded rectangle as well. You'll just need to include a corner size or a corner radius. If you want those smoother edges, you can feel free to do that as well. Instead of scaledToFit or fill, there's also the .aspectRatio, and you can choose between fit or fill. And before the content mode, you can actually establish what that ratio is. So if we did 1.0, add a comma, we can change the aspect ratio of our image. If we were to set this to be 2.0, you can see it stretches out a little bit more, or even 0.5. It's getting a little bit cursed, but you can play around with this image and adjust the aspect ratio to whatever works best for your design. If you want your images to pop a little bit more, you can also add a shadow and include a radius. So if we were to send this to 10, you can see that there's a bit more of a glow. We can also add a color to our shadow. It does have to go before the radius. So I'll do color with a colon, and let's have this be .red. We'll add a comma, and you can see we now have this red glow around our image. You can get really creative with this. I just wanted to show you the basics. You can think of adding some overlays or maybe even some strokes for a border. But hopefully this helped you resize and stylize your images a little bit easier in your SwiftUI project. Also in this example that I'm uploading, so in this examples view, you can look through and even upload your own image to see how these different changes work in real time on the simulator. So if you found this helpful, leave me a thumbs up, comment, and subscribe. Otherwise, dream big, code bigger, and we'll see you in the next one.